You wake up at 2 in the morning. One of your hands is completely numb. You shake it out, you flex your fingers. Slowly the feeling comes back. You assume you slept on it wrong, roll over, and go back to sleep. That happens again the next night, and the night after that. Most people write this off as a minor annoyance. But waking up with numb hands, especially when it keeps happening, is your nervous system sending you a signal. And if you understand what that signal means, you can actually do something about it. Starting with what you eat. There are 3 specific foods that directly support nerve health and nerve repair. They reduce the kind of inflammation that irritates nerves. They restore nutrients that nerves need to function properly. And when the underlying cause is nutritional, which it often is, these foods can make a real, noticeable difference. Let's start with what's actually happening. Your hands go numb when a nerve gets compressed or when a nerve loses its ability to carry signals properly. Both of these things can happen during sleep because of how your body is positioned. But here's the part most people miss. A nerve that's well-nourished, well-insulated, and not inflamed handles compression far better than a nerve that's already stressed. Think of it like this. Every major nerve in your arm has a protective coating around it called the myelin sheath. This coating works like insulation on an electrical wire. It keeps the signal sharp and fast. When that insulation is intact, a little pressure during sleep doesn't create a problem. The signal still gets through. But when that insulation is damaged or thinning, even mild pressure during sleep can cut the signal off. And that's when you wake up with that dead, numb feeling in your hand. The myelin sheath depends on specific nutrients to stay healthy. When those nutrients are low, the insulation thins. The nerve becomes more sensitive, more reactive, and more likely to misfire under pressure. One of the most critical nutrients for myelin is vitamin B12, and B12 deficiency is extremely common, especially in adults over 40, people who take the diabetes medication metformin, people who use acid-reducing medications like omeprazole or pantoprazole long-term, and anyone who eats mostly plant-based foods without supplementing. When B12 levels fall, the myelin sheath starts to break down. Nerves that were previously stable start to cause symptoms, tingling, numbness, burning, or that pins and needles feeling you get when a hand or foot falls asleep. The hands are often the first place people notice this because the nerves traveling to your fingers are among the longest in your arm. This is where the first food comes in. Wild-caught salmon and other fatty fish like sardines, mackerel, and trout are among the richest natural sources of vitamin B12 on the planet. A single 3-ounce serving of salmon can provide more than 100% of your daily B12 requirement. But the benefits go further than just B12. Fatty fish are also loaded with omega-3 fatty acids, specifically EPA and DHA. These fats are directly incorporated into the membranes of nerve cells. They keep those membranes healthy and flexible. They also reduce neuroinflammation, the kind of low-grade chronic inflammation in nerve tissue that makes nerves hypersensitive and slow to recover from compression. Multiple studies have shown that omega-3 supplementation can reduce symptoms of peripheral neuropathy, the medical term for nerve dysfunction in the hands and feet. The anti-inflammatory effect is real and measurable, and you get it in a single food, fatty fish 2 to 3 times per week. If you don't eat fish, wild-caught sardines in a can are one of the most affordable, accessible sources available. One small can has more than 200% of your daily B12 and a solid dose of omega-3s. That's a meaningful nutritional hit for very little cost. Now let's talk about the second food, and why so many people with nerve symptoms are missing this particular nutrient without knowing it. Magnesium. Your nerves use magnesium to regulate how easily they fire. When magnesium levels are adequate, nerve cells have a proper threshold. They fire when they should and rest when they should. When magnesium levels are low, that threshold drops. Nerves become overexcitable. They fire more easily, stay activated longer, and produce that constant background hum of tingling and discomfort that many people associate with nerve problems. Low magnesium is also strongly linked to poor sleep, nighttime muscle cramps, restless legs, and, relevant here, increased nerve sensitivity during sleep. All of those things can contribute to waking up with numb, tingling hands. The second food is spinach, or more broadly, dark leafy greens. Spinach, Swiss chard, and kale all qualify. These are among the best dietary sources of magnesium. Spinach is also rich in vitamin B6 and folate, two B vitamins that play direct roles in nerve signal transmission and in the production of myelin. 1 cup of cooked spinach provides about 37% of your daily magnesium requirement. That's a meaningful contribution. Eating it consistently, 3 to 4 times a week, alongside other magnesium-containing foods like nuts and seeds, starts to move the needle on nerve sensitivity over time. The nervous system does not recover overnight. Damaged myelin takes weeks to months to rebuild, depending on how long the deficiency has been present. But the reduction in nerve overexcitability from restoring magnesium can happen faster, sometimes within 2 to 3 weeks of consistent dietary improvement. That brings us to the third food. And this one surprises most people because it's something almost everyone has in their kitchen and almost no one thinks of as a nerve food. Eggs. A whole egg contains B12, B6, folate, and choline, 4 nutrients that work together to support nerve repair and nerve function. Choline, in particular, is a nutrient that doesn't get nearly enough attention. Your body uses choline to produce acetylcholine, which is one of the main chemical messengers your nervous system uses to send signals between nerve cells and muscles. Low choline means weaker, less efficient nerve communication. Eggs are also one of the only foods that naturally contain vitamin D, which has recently been shown in research to play a role in nerve regeneration. Vitamin D receptors exist on nerve cells. Your nerves actually use vitamin D as part of their repair process. And low vitamin D, which is extremely common in adults in the United States, is increasingly linked to peripheral neuropathy and nerve pain. 2 eggs per day provide substantial amounts of all 4 of these nerve-supporting nutrients together. They're affordable, easy to prepare, and the body absorbs the nutrients in whole eggs very efficiently. Now let's step back and connect the full picture. The 3 foods, fatty fish, dark leafy greens, and eggs, work on nerve health from different angles. Fish provides B12 and omega-3s to protect and repair myelin and reduce neuroinflammation. Leafy greens provide magnesium and B vitamins to calm nerve overexcitability and support signal transmission. Eggs provide the full spectrum of B vitamins, choline, and vitamin D to support nerve communication and regeneration. Together, they address the most common nutritional drivers of nighttime nerve symptoms. Now, there are also things that actively damage your nerves, habits and patterns that work against everything these foods are trying to do. Alcohol, even in moderate amounts, is directly toxic to peripheral nerves. Chronic high blood sugar, whether from full diabetes or the earlier stage called prediabetes, damages the small blood vessels that feed nerves, slowly starving them of oxygen. Prolonged sitting with poor posture compresses nerve pathways in the shoulder and wrist. And certain medications, as mentioned earlier, can deplete B12. If you're making dietary changes and not seeing improvement, it's worth looking at whether one of these factors is working against you. It's also important to recognize when numbness in your hands at night warrants a direct conversation with your doctor. If the numbness is only in specific fingers, particularly the thumb, index finger, and middle finger, that pattern often points to carpal tunnel syndrome, which is compression of the median nerve at the wrist. Dietary changes help, but carpal tunnel sometimes needs a wrist splint worn at night, physical therapy, or in more advanced cases, a minor procedure. Food alone won't fix mechanical compression that has progressed significantly. If the numbness involves the ring finger and pinky, that's a different nerve, the ulnar nerve, and can relate to how you bend your elbow during sleep. If numbness is spreading up your arm, affecting both hands, or accompanied by weakness or loss of coordination, that needs prompt medical evaluation. What dietary changes address best is the background state of your nerves, how resilient they are, how well insulated they are, how inflamed they are. If that background state improves, symptoms that have been borderline for years often resolve on their own. Here's how to practically build this into your week. Eat fatty fish 2 to 3 times a week, salmon, sardines, mackerel, or trout. Include cooked spinach or another dark leafy green 3 to 4 times a week. Eat 2 whole eggs most mornings. These aren't complex changes. They don't require a special diet. They require consistency over 6 to 8 weeks. If your B12 is already significantly low, something your doctor can check with a simple blood test, a B12 supplement may be necessary alongside dietary changes because absorption from food alone can't always correct a serious deficiency quickly enough. The blood test is fast, inexpensive, and genuinely worth doing if you've had persistent nerve symptoms for more than a few weeks. Your nerves are not beyond repair. The nervous system has a remarkable ability to recover when it's given what it needs. That recovery is slow. It doesn't happen in days. But it is real. And for many people, the path to better nerve health runs directly through the food they eat every day. Waking up with numb hands is your body asking for something. Start giving it the right answer tonight. And there you have it. Take this knowledge and take control of your health. Thank you for watching.